Yeah, I think our memory is like that. It's like everything's connected.
He started his career. I introduced them on their very first television show.
At 81, Diana Ross finally tells the truth about Michael Jackson. Diana Ross is one of the most influential African-American artists in the world. But what the public has always been most curious about is her strange relationship with her boy, Michael Jackson. Many who work with them both say the same thing. Never ask too much about Michael and Diana Ross. There's something there, something strange, private, and deeply forbidden. Now, at the age of 81, Diana Ross has finally begun to reveal the truth behind their relationship, including her explanation for Michael's impulsive behavior in his youth, the hidden messages in his songs, the thing that hurt him the most, and the secret of the shrine room he built and maintained for years. So, what happened between them? And what was it that Michael insisted on doing, no matter what, before he left this world? The first time Michael Jackson met Diana Ross was on an evening in 1968 at a Motown-hosted event. He was just a 9-year-old boy, small, timid, clinging to the side of his older brothers in the Jackson 5. In a room filled with sharp, scrutinizing stares, Michael didn't say much. His hands trembled as he tried to appear confident, but his eyes betrayed him wide and lost, as if he were being pulled into a world not meant for children. And then, amid that glamorous crowd, a woman stepped forward. Diana Ross was not just Motown's brightest star. She was the uncrowned queen of a music empire dominating America. She leaned down and gently called him sweetheart. From that moment on, everything changed. An invisible thread tightened between a boy and the woman more than 20 years his senior, who made him believe he was worthy of shining. Diana had everything Michael yearned for: the spotlight, autonomy, beauty, charisma, and the right to be himself. When Diana looked at Michael, it was the gaze of someone who saw potential. They began a strange, undefined relationship, not exactly mother and son, and not merely friendship either. Later, he could only describe it with one phrase: mother, sister, and lover Al-Anon. In 1971, when The Diana Show aired, millions of American viewers saw Michael Jackson standing beside Diana Ross on stage for the first time. But what the audience never saw were the secrets behind the curtain. Between Diana Ross and Michael Jackson was a relationship that defied labels. And Michael, driven by something deeper than admiration, went on to make impulsive, shocking choices that no one saw coming. The tabloids ran wild with suggestive headlines about a mentor-student-lover devotion that crossed boundaries, and even whispers of a forbidden romance between two music icons. For decades, Diana saw everything but remained silent. Now at 81, as the spotlight gradually dims, Diana has chosen to speak out. She does so not to seek attention. Instead, she wants Michael's puzzling actions to be unveiled so they can be understood with the respect the public should afford this icon. In 1978, Hollywood was shocked by the news that Michael Jackson had accepted a role in The Wiz. Many saw it as a risky move in his stagnating career. But for Michael, that film was simply the only chance to be near Diana Ross. When the film project The Wiz began to take shape, director Sidney Lumet and producer Quincy Jones were initially skeptical of Michael Jackson's acting abilities. Even the public criticized the news of Michael Jackson's casting. To many, he was still just the boy from the Jackson 5, not a real actor. However, multiple sources revealed that Michael Jackson actively sought every way to join this film, constantly leveraging his connections. Thanks to strong lobbying from Rob Cohen and Berry Gordy, who had close ties with Diana Ross, Michael was finally given the opportunity to embody the role of the Scarecrow. But one thing is certain: Michael Jackson participated in The Wiz, not just for the contract. If someone were to ask, the answer would likely be because she was there. Diana Ross played Dorothy, the Scarecrow's guide, and Michael transformed into a naive scarecrow, always yearning to learn how to think, reflecting his own self in his 20s, full of innocence and carrying a burning love. On screen, they performed two duets, Ease on Down the Road and Brand New Day. They sang together as they began their journey out of the field, encouraging each other to overcome fear. And in real life, too, they journeyed together through the dark corners of youth, of inner turmoil, and ambiguity in the glamorous world. The Wiz was later dubbed a cinematic disaster by the press, but for Michael, success wasn't the most important thing. This was the first time he could sit beside Diana, share a meal without dodging cameras. He could be himself, not the king of pop or Motown icon, but just Mella, shy young man deeply in love. But the most shocking revelation didn't stop there. Diana Ross revealed a surprising detail. Throughout the filming, Michael invited her to stay overnight at his private apartment multiple times. But for a 20-year-old Michael Jackson and Diana Ross at the peak of her fame, having once nurtured him, such closeness couldn't be purely professional. The press at the time had no concrete evidence, but rumors began to spread within the industry. A few reporters following the Wiz production left vague notes about nights Diana didn't return to her private hotel. Some assistants revealed that Michael always asked before the morning shoot if she had slept well. No one precisely stated what happened between them. Diana did not explain. And Michael, he changed after the Wiz. He smiled less on stage, was quieter in interviews. But in his eyes, something new was visible. Serenity, the Wiz, was a commercial failure. But for Michael, it was a silent victory. A victory without golden trophies or spotlights, marked instead by quiet nights in a small apartment where there were no longer celebrities, but just two lonely people who found each other. But then the film ended. They each returned to their worlds. And it would be many years later, in a fateful moment, that Michael Jackson would take an action that stunned everyone. In music, Michael Jackson once removed his mask during an Ebony interview and made a shocking declaration to the media. Throughout his career, Michael Jackson always lived behind the walls of fame and the fear of being hurt. But in a rare interview with Ebony, he did something no one expected. He took off his mask and spoke the truth. It was 1982. Michael was already an international star, but hadn't yet entered his Thriller era. Ebony magazine sent a reporter to meet him in the studio. Everything was pleasant at first until the reporter asked about the person he loved most. The atmosphere suddenly fell silent, and then he uttered a sentence. "It's Diana Ross. I love her." The entire room seemed to hold its breath. All eyes turned to Michael, not with the usual admiration, but with extreme astonishment. Diana Ross, the woman nearly 2 decades his senior, who had guided him from his early Motown days, whom the whole world regarded as Michael's mentor, his sister. But then Michael Jackson laughed. "I'm just kidding." The interview later caused a sensation across newspapers. Many later claimed it was just an impulsive statement, a fleeting remark from an artist living in a distant fantasy. But if you watch that clip again, you'll see something that cannot be faked. It was the gaze of a man looking at the woman he loves. Diana Ross later revealed that Michael once told her he wanted to marry her, that if he had the choice, he wouldn't hesitate, needing no public approval or media acceptance. However, that sincere confession made Diana feel terrible. She was significantly older than him. That generation gap, combined with pressure from the entertainment industry, made her believe such a relationship was too innocent. Though she understood Michael's feelings, Diana knew that harsh reality wouldn't allow them to have the desired ending. At that time, Michael was just over 20, while Diana was past 40. Hollywood would view this as unusual, even mockable. At that time, Hollywood was already known for its double standards. If an older man dated a younger woman, it was often seen as a testament to his allure. Conversely, an older woman dating a younger man was often labeled a cougar or a boy toy hunter. Perhaps what saddened Michael most was that people didn't believe him. And even the person he loved didn't believe him. They thought it was just a PR stunt or the delusion of a boy who refused to grow up. But unrequited love in the long run can gradually become something almost dangerous and eventually easily discarded. Perhaps that's why when Diana married Michael didn't choose to confront her, but acted differently than in the secret or shrine. In 198, all of Hollywood was shaken by the news that Queen Diana Ross married Ari Ness Jr. When the news spread, the entertainment world was filled with congratulations. However, while the public rejoiced, Michael quietly folded the wedding invitation and mysteriously disappeared. He even canceled his plans to attend Diana's wedding, leading the press at the time to speculate about a conflict between the two. However, in a later interview, Diana Ross herself revealed that Michael's actions stemmed from deep pain. Because Diana was no ordinary woman. In private conversations, Michael frequently repeated the haunting phrase, If I were a few years older, she wouldn't have fallen into someone else's hands. He couldn't hide his jealousy of Nas Jr., who had become Diana's husband. Those close to him said that at the time Michael almost collapsed. In his memoir Moonwalk, 1988, Michael shared, "When I learned Diana Ross was getting married, I was happy for her. But at the same time, it was hard for me because I always loved Diana and always will love her." He admitted feeling hurt and jealous, though he always wished her well. After that, Michael locked himself in his room, refusing all visitors. The door remained closed, and anyone who knocked received only a shake of the head from within. He skipped meals, even refusing his favorite foods. When a persistent friend asked why he hadn't attended the wedding, Michael simply whispered, "I loved her, and I always will." After that wedding, Michael briefly disappeared from the spotlight. Outsiders called it a vacation, but his friends all knew he was learning to cope with the pain. Even more shocking, the day Michael filed for copyright for the song Dirty Diana coincided exactly with the day Diana Ross married Ori named Jr. Dirty Diana was released in 1988 on the Bad album, and its name and lyrics caused controversy for years to come. Dirty Diana is a powerful rock song about a groupie girls who follow famous bands, often trying to seduce artists backstage. The lyrics tell of a woman named Diana, seductive, reckless, and captivating, trying to tempt a singer who is already taken. The singer in the song struggles internally between temptation and loyalty. She's saying that she's got your number. She's saying that she's got your game. Initially, Michael explained that this was just a song about obsessive fans. But then the temporal coincidence was discovered, making that explanation falter. A coincidence, perhaps, but it was too perfect to be random. And then came, Remember the Time. No one needed to guess long. Jermaine Jackson, Michael's brother, stated directly, Michael wrote that song for Diana. In the Remember the Time music video, Michael embodies a man trying to please a powerful queen. Although all signs were clear, Michael never publicly admitted that the song was for Diana. He was afraid. Afraid that the one he loved would turn away, feel pressured or be hurt by emotions he couldn't control. That was how he protected his heart. He would rather let people speculate than face the risk of rejection or misunderstanding from the woman he adored. When Diana Ross heard rumors about Dirty Diana, she was furious and called Michael directly to ask. After he explained, she laughed and said, "So, you weren't speaking ill of me." Good. Michael removed Dirty Diana from his set list the night she came to see him perform as a gesture of respect. His love for Diana was so profound that he was willing to do anything she wanted, prioritizing her feelings and comfort above all else, even the fame of a hit song. Though Michael always tried to keep it hidden, at subsequent events like the World Music Awards or when Diana sat on his lap on the VMA stage, close observers noticed he became shy, more anxious, and awkward when near Diana. His gaze and gestures at these times clearly revealed regret, longing, and sadness. But Michael's love for this woman became obsessive. In 1986, a shocking secret about Michael Jackson was revealed. While touring his home, Clay G and others were led to a room next to Michael's bedroom, which they called the Diana Ross Shrine. The room had a curved ceiling and white brick walls resembling a wine cellar. But instead of wine, every square inch was covered with photos of Diana Ross from her early years with the Supremes to recent pictures. On shelves, tables, and the floor, hundreds of candles burned 24/7, as Michael said to honor his friend. And when information about this room leaked through audio recordings of private conversations between Michael and a close friend named Glenda in the early 1990s, the press was shaken. They were horrified and even assessed him as having psychological issues. Some major newspapers openly speculated about Michael's unhealthy obsession, emphasizing that Diana Ross was still alive. So why have a shrine as if she had passed away? Phrases like eccentric, creepy, or disordered began to appear frequently to the public. This action was incomprehensible and disturbing, especially as it defied normal social conventions. However, for Michael, that room was not madness, but the tangible embodiment of unrequited love. In private conversations, Michael once admitted, "It was unrequited love. Our relationship was only in my head." He created this private space to contain and honor the feelings he could not fully express or receive from Diana. It was a place where he could live with his deepest emotions, a private world where his love for Diana was absolute and unjudged. Notably to this day, there has been no statement from Diana Ross expressing disgust or outrage at the rumors about that room. On the contrary, when referring to Michael, Diana once spoke affectionately, "We truly loved each other. He was like one of my children." She also affirmed, "You see, we truly loved each other. He was like a spiritual child." This shows that Diana clearly understood the nature of their relationship, and perhaps she also understood the pain behind Michael's supposedly strange actions, and she sympathized with it. And so Michael Jackson passed away amidst a host of dry legal clauses and countless vast assets. A surprising name appeared and made everyone pause: Diana Ross. Michael explicitly stated in his will if his mother Katherine Jackson was unable or unwilling to care for his 3 children, the only person to assume that role would be Diana. Not a sister, not a close friend, not anyone else in the extended Jackson family, but Diana, the woman he once called mother, sister, lover, all in one. This decision was extremely significant. Imagine when you choose someone to entrust your children's future to in the worst-case scenario. It's not just a routine legal procedure. The most important thing is trust. And Michael chose Diana. Outsiders wouldn't understand. They would ask, why would someone as private and suspicious as Michael, who always avoided commitments and was cautious in all relationships, trust Diana to that extent? But in reality, that trust didn't come from romantic entanglement or eternal vows. It came from simple things like writing someone's name in your will as a way of considering them close family, as a silent way of saying, "I trust you more than anyone else." Michael Jackson passed away, leaving behind countless unanswered questions. But in that will, one answer emerged clearly. The name Diana Ross placed in the right position, carrying an irreplaceable meaning. But love isn't just expressed through one party's choice. Michael placed his complete trust in Diana Ross. So what about her? Or was that affection for all those years just a taut thread between care, admiration, and a boundary neither dared to cross? Music. Did Diana love Michael Jackson? Diana at 81 is now almost completely out of the public eye. But recently, she has begun to speak out to unburden something that has weighed on her heart for nearly half a century. Michael loved me in a way that's not easy to name. And she emphasized it wasn't a fleeting thing, not a temporary infatuation. It was true love. Mother, sister, and lover, she sighed. Those weren't empty words. I heard him say that from the very first time. And he never changed. For decades, she never confirmed it. People speculated, fabricated stories, but she maintained enough distance not to hurt Michael and not enough to cross the line. She clearly understood who she was in his eyes, an icon, a figure, an inseparable part of that young heart. She once saw the eyes of that boy from Detroit. She witnessed that affection grow and mature with him from his first songs until he became the man the world called the king. I knew who I was in his heart, and precisely because I knew that I didn't dare reciprocate. She said, not because I didn't care, but because I understood that love, when mixed with admiration, would become so fragile that even a small deviation could break everything. She continued, he gave me a kind of love I'm not sure I could handle. And because I knew it was serious, I didn't dare break it. Someone quietly asked, so, did you ever love him? Diana replied, I cared for him deeply. Cared with everything a person can give another. But to say I loved him the way he loved me, I cannot lie. Perhaps what pains her most is that this love existed for so long, kept in silence to the point where no one could touch it. Yet even now at 81, she still remembers every detail, every glance, every word of Michael as if there was never any distance, never any years. Music, a love that yearned until death. Michael Jackson passed away, leaving behind countless unanswered questions. But in that will, an answer emerged clearly, not through words, but through actions. The name Diana Ross placed in the right position for the right person, carrying an irreplaceable meaning. Perhaps that's how Michael Jackson wanted to tell the world that no matter how many ups and downs his life had, how much glory or misunderstood darkness, there was a love that yearned in his heart until his last breath. A love that demanded no reciprocation, needed no external validation, but was intense enough to overcome all barriers of age, fame, and even death. It was the love of a sincere heart which found its final peace, knowing that the woman he adored would always be a refuge for the most precious things in his life. Share your thoughts in the comments below, cause this story isn't just about Hollywood. It's a story about freedom, courage, and the longing to express oneself.